Hi, welcome everyone. Mike here on behalf of the EcoU team. Great to have you invest some time in growing your mindset to achieve your abundance in business as an amazing super couple in business. It really helps having your energy lift me through these sessions, believe me. Today, I want to explore some simple business concepts and ask a few questions so you can progress positively as not just a couple in business, but a super couple in business. In your super couple quest to get from A, where you are now, to B, your self-defined abundance in business, is the knowledge that you have now and are applying getting you there faster, easier, more cheaply, and harmonious than you thought? Hang on, stay tuned, and let's explore this and see what we can achieve together. So, who's this course for? Well, it's for people that are starting out in business together and have aspirations to achieve something meaningful. I mean, put that down to everyone that I've ever spoken to. People that are open to learning and growing as well as achieving. So it's about the journey and the destination. So we're all, you need a growth mindset. There's always opportunity and abundance out there. So if you're open to that, just keep your mind open and let's see what we can get through and achieve. And those that are looking for some key concepts to help accelerate their journey to getting to their destination. So those are really the key things, and that's who it's for. So what we hope you'll learn today is one, just mastering some business fundamentals, developing clarity, confidence, and essential skills to navigate business challenges and create a solid foundation. This is around some business basics, so some foundational things. Embracing and strategizing for abundance. So reflect on the meaning of abundance, understand its significance, and implement strategies to achieve success at various business stages. All businesses go through a life cycle, as we do. And there's different things that you can do for different types of business at different stages. And sometimes if you do the wrong thing at the wrong time, it can be counterproductive. So deliver and recognize value, comprehend the value that you bring to customers, define the roles within your business. You might only have one person, two people, or you might have a whole team, but everyone has roles, and you have multiple roles as business owners, as a couple, and if you're a family, your family roles, and understand their impact on delivering value, because you can either add value or detract value if you don't do things right. Map and take action on your business journey. This is super important. Identify where you are now and chart a course to your goals and determine actionable steps to move forward and overcome constraints. So that's key to getting where you want to get to. Thrive and grow together. Look, we can't forget this. Utilize tools designed for couples in business. Focus on essential business components and learn methods to expand and scale successfully. So who are we? Well, I'm representing the EcoU team, and with Lisa, I'm a founder. We are super proud and thrilled to support business owners, couples in business, and families in business. We're focusing mostly on now. We've done a lot of coaching, and we've supported lots of business work through challenges and achieve great things, either for their business and both, and in their lives themselves. So as I said, we help couples and families in business achieve abundance within a community. So what we've found is the value of community. Look, we've had people have lived in communities for millennia, and we see the value of having communities around business, and specifically the couples and families in business that we're looking at. So we've been through a lot. We've seen a lot of things that you're either facing or will face or have faced, and we're still learning. So it's a journey, and that's where community comes into it. So super pleased to represent us and take you on this journey. So the structure of the course. So we're all at point A now. So we've got to decide what the future looks like. And most of us want to get to point B. And that is our abundance in business. That's what we want to achieve in life. So success looks different for every person, every couple, every family, every business is different. So what this course will take us through is getting you to think about your why. Your why is the thing that gets you up out of bed and makes the what and the how easier. You have to understand what you want to do before you focus on the how, because what you want to do is basically pointing you in the right direction. The how is getting there. So I see a lot of people frustrated because they're beavering away on the how will I do this? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? And they haven't realized what the purpose of doing those things is. So we're going to look at that, plus some key concepts around business to try and shift your mindset and illuminate some, innovation and thinking, within your head. When we're working with businesses, one of the things, if you see in the top right there, we've got this thing called the conversation map, and that represents the different dimensions of your life, including business and your relationships and money and all that sort of stuff. And that changes throughout your life. So what we do is we've got some graphical tools that we work with people to help them identify what's of value to them now, where they want to head to. So we put that up there in the top right, but it can sit down in the bottom left corner as well, so we can see what the gaps are between where they are now and where they want to get to. Down in the bottom left, we've got readiness assessments. Are you ready for change? There's some people say, yeah, I'm ready, I'm willing to do anything. And then when we go through an assessment process and we start working, we see that, hey, maybe not quite so ready. We've got to address certain things before we can, really leap out onto that journey. And we've got a framework that we work with, and I'll explain more of that a bit later on. So that's the structure of what we're going to go through. Yeah, I hope you get a lot of value out of it. So basically, when you're working with us, is you are at point A, as I've mentioned. You've got to make a decision. You want to get to point B. That's your definition of success. And I'm looking beyond business here. So what we want to do, working with us, is reduce the time it takes to get there, because I've seen so many people beavering away for a long, long time. And all they're doing is that it's like they're on the hamster wheel and they're just not progressing, or it's taking much longer than they thought they would. So if you could just think about it, what would it mean to you, if you could reduce the time it takes to get from where you are now to your definition of success? And that's a key thing that we want to do. The other thing we want to do is reduce the effort, the pain, the learnings, the mistakes, the dollars you're spending to get there. And that's why we've got this community and our expertise and the expertise of others to support you through the process. So reducing that. And then along the way, we're hoping the journey's going to be more fun and more harmonious. How does that sound? So I love this quote. Zig Ziglar, he was incredible man. So you've got your definition of a success. That's your vision. That's your, your purpose. That's driving you. That's your North Star. And the thing is that we have to set goals to get there, because otherwise it just becomes a wish and a vague thing. So you've got to set goals. But what Zig pointed out is it's not what you get by achieving your goals, it's what you become. And this is so, so true. I'm sure that many of you have found that. And I've certainly experienced it by setting the goals I've got. You're working towards them, and it's amazing. You grow through challenges. If it was easy, you wouldn't be growing. And you become a stronger, a more resilient, more innovative. You become a better person. So it's what you become. So, and your goals will always change. And that's the other thing. So really, really important to remember that. It's what you become. So let's become someone great, you super couples. So your vehicle to your vision, success up in the right, whatever it is for you, your vehicle is business. So business success will drive your life success. That's what you've chosen. Look, you've decided that business is for you, and that's great. There's a lot of challenges. You've got to invest time and money, but you are going to grow. You want to reap the rewards of that to experience a more abundant life, whatever that means to you. So you're investing time to get more time freedom, maybe. So you're investing time to get more money, whatever it is for you. So your vehicle to your vision is your business. So you need your business. You've got to be more than 100%. I don't know how you can be more than 100%, but you've got to be 100% plus committed, because everything's riding on this. So let's make it work for you. So one of the first concepts that we need to understand is, why does business exist at all? So a business exists to deliver something to its customers and something to its owners. And if you don't have these two things, then you're not going to have a business. It's as simple as that. So a business exists to deliver value to its customers and profits to its owners. If you don't deliver value, your customers, if you have any now, or if you're trying to get them, you won't get them, because that's what customers are after. They're after some self-determined value. And you create or reduce value throughout your organization and supply chain. So the next thing is you've got to make a profit. You might say, hey, look, we're a social enterprise, we're a not-for-profit. You have to make a profit, otherwise you're making a loss, right? It's either profit or loss. And what you do with the profits is up to you. You can donate them, spend them in the community if you're, social enterprise to fund a charity or whatever, or you can reinvest them in the business, or you can take them and spend them. So there's a number of things you can do, and we'll just look at that very quickly shortly. Some of the things, one of the things that I've learned that I think is of value and a good strategic approach. So delivering value to its customers and profits to its owners, it's pretty straightforward. So I'm sure that you understand, but sometimes it's just good to bring it back, because with just the busyness and the noise and everything in life, you lose sight of those things. And because there's so many other things that are creating your attention, if it pays to come back to basics. So the thing with business, success and failure, so the failure stats approximately, they vary by country and, at times over the years and all that sort of stuff, and, where we are in economic cycles and all that. But in year one, approximately 20%, 1 in 5 businesses fails. So 4 in 5 continue. In year two, around 30%, so 1 in 3 have gone. And by year 5, it's 50%, 1 in 2. And of the ones that, are remaining, 67% struggle for survival. 67%. What we don't want is for you to be struggling. We want you to understand the business basics, the fundamentals, and really get in there and, thrive and achieve that abundance in business. So why do businesses fail? So we can say, look, it's obvious. Look, one, lack of capital or funding or poor financial management, because dollars can be tricky to manage sometimes. So you run out of dollars. That's a big one. The second one here is a mindset, a closed mind and not listening or learning. So that creates conflicts, disharmony and stress. So if you've got staff and they want to talk to you about ideas and things like that, or you've got advisors that talk to you and say, hey, how about doing this or that, because we know you're struggling. If you've got a closed mind and not listening to them, then that is going to cause conflicts. And even worse are conflicts that arise from if your partner is saying, hey, why are we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? Let's take a step, to the side or back or forward. And if you can't agree on that, if you're not in alignment or agreement, then that causes disharmony and stress within your relationship, which then can, carries over into the business. So it's certainly a challenging thing. So, and we all have blind spots and egos. So the other thing is, we don't know what we don't know, but we choose to ignore it. So the third thing is capability, acumen, and experience, and that, that can cause issues for running out of money as well. You can make poor decision making and execution, but you don't know why, because you think you're doing the right thing, but you haven't got the experience, or you haven't listened, and so you're making poor decisions and you're going down the wrong track. Like I said at the start, what do you want to achieve and how are you going to achieve it? They're different things, and you might think that how you're achieving what you want to achieve is the right thing, but it's the wrong. It's as simple as that. So that leads, poor capability and experience and skills lead to ineffective planning. So lack of direction and focus. Ineffective marketing. You can't reach your target audience. In the execution phase, you don't know how to lead and manage people, and your people, whether they're directly employed by you, they're contractors, they're your family, or your suppliers, you need to take a leadership role and gather them and help them see the direction, sell them on the your North Star and your vision for success, which would make them successful too, and that's what it's about. There's so much abundance out there that everyone can succeed. So, and these sorts of things, business failure or the struggling, that 67%, lead to relationship issues. We've seen it so many times. It's challenging. So we want to address these things, work with you, understand, listen, and through our approaches, get you as a super couple achieving your abundance in business. I love this quote. It goes back on what I was talking about before. The greatest obstacle to discovery is not ignorance. It is the illusion of knowledge. So if we're ignorant and we know it, then we can do something about it. But if we perceive or have the illusion that we know what we're doing, then we're in trouble. So there's the Buddhist philosophy of the empty cup. Just try and keep our cup empty and fill it up with the knowledge, the wisdom of others. So that is one of the big points that in the previous slide around the reasons for failure, is the illusion of knowledge. Try and avoid it. So here we go, just gonna quickly run through this. We're here now, and we've got our our definition of success, what we want to achieve in life, whatever that is for us. And our vehicle, like I said, is business. So it's the business that's going to get there. So what we do, we're investing time and money into getting there, achieving that. Okay? And why are we doing that? Because we're expecting more money and perhaps more freedom in return. So what are we doing with that extra money? So this is a little financial exercise that we're working through here, because we might get the more time as well, and the other benefits of the business. So you can spend that money to on the things that you want, or you can invest it. So take some of that money, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You can spend some and invest some, but if you invest some, then you're going to get a bigger return on that investment. So it's around diversifying your risk to some degree, and if you can make the sacrifice of not having all that money and spending it and blowing it, maybe, you can get a return on your investments. Look, it's not either or. Look, some people grow big businesses and that is their investment. Others are smaller and they're relying on the income. So what you definitely, if you want to have, if you just got a self-employed job, you want to save some of that money and invest it, and then benefit from the returns. You might buy some property, for example, shares, whatever it is, and and look to invest it if you can. So let's get down to your business. Why does your business exist? So before we talked about the purpose of business is to make a profit and by providing value. So looking at your business, to make a profit, we provide value by helping, a market niche or niche, however you want to pronounce that, to get certain results by your service. So it could be by helping weary travelers to get a good night's sleep by providing luxury accommodation services or basic accommodation services, whatever your niche is. And that's it. It's as simple as articulating that. If you get that as clear as you can go around and tell anyone. And that can be the foundation for your marketing, advertising messages. Remember, you're looking at making a profit by providing value, and the value is your service. So do it for your business. To make a profit, we provide value by helping, whatever that is, to achieve whatever it is by providing whatever it is you do. Just, pause and make a note and scroll some ideas down even and share them between yourselves. Super important. Here we go. Life cycle. All businesses go through a life cycle, and so obviously the X, horizontal axis, is time, over time, and the Y is, say, value. And when you're going to through the life cycle, you start out thinking about, I'm going to start a business, and then and then you're doing some research and you're preparing and all of that sort of stuff. So there's sort of negative value in that. You're not creating any value, you're consuming value because your time is valuable. So then you get to startup, and this is where you've kicked it off. You're getting out into the market. You've got your brand, you've got perhaps your premises, your website, whatever it is, all those things. And then you go through a phase of growth, and then expansion. And growth and expansion are different, because growth is scaling up. Expansion is perhaps going wide, going up and wide. So multiple branches perhaps. Different geographic areas, expanding like that. Then you mature, and this is sort of getting into steady state. And then you go through a decline period, or at any time along that maturity to decline stage, you might go through a phase of renewal, and then that will go up and it'll go through the same cycle again. So that's essentially, at the end, just about all businesses end in some way or another. So it's about what you need to do. You've got to be practical about things, because I'm a big fan of getting your processes documented and automated. All of those sorts of things. So systemize your business, because it creates so much value. However, you can overinvest in doing things early. There was one company, let me tell you, share a little story about a company I did some work with, quite a few years ago. It was in the days of e-commerce, which was which is a big thing. And they had a product that, an e-commerce product that would simplify the supply chain. And we were working with them to implement it at a client. And on the success of that, because we help them sell it in to this client, and on the success of this sale, they went and raised quite a lot of money. I think they were already in the process of that, because they said that they had such a good product, and then set up offices overseas. So they were going through the expansion before they had actually gone through the proper startup and getting the basic foundations right. And as it turned out, their product wasn't truly scalable. They didn't have something, it wasn't robust enough, because they'd only sold one, and it was basically a custom implementation. So they were focusing on the wrong things at the wrong time. So it's understanding where you are in the cycle and what you need to focus on. Otherwise, you're going to run into problems. But so there's different strategies to employ at different points, and that applies to the people that you need, the systems, the processes, all of those sorts of things come back into understanding, look, where you are, what do you need to do next. So I hope that sort of gives a quick overview of the life cycle and strategies driving down into the tactics you need to employ. So work out where you are, because you might have bought a mature business, but you're new in the business. So what do you need to do? Maybe it hasn't got the system, so you can add a lot of value by systemizing a lot of things, or focusing on customer relationships. Working out what they are. Is your customer attrition going up or down? Work out where things are at, and do the work that needs to be done, but be practical. So what sort of business do you have? There's essentially, if you look at a spectrum of two main business models, and you can do the wrong things on the wrong one, leads to stress and failed results, because I've seen this happen. So the first one is the unleveraged. Basically, it's you selling time for dollars. So you're basically capped at the amount of time you've got. Say if you're a physio, or maybe a plumber, a self-employed plumber, or a lawnmower, or a hairdresser. Or, you can flex a bit by increasing some of your charge out rates or whatever, but basically you're unleveraged because it's you. You're selling you. That's 100% of your time. So what do you need to do to improve your returns, so that you can take perhaps some more money out and invest it, like we talked about? Your strategy for when you're unleveraged and you've got capped growth is drive more to 100% billable time. Because I've seen a lot of businesses where the percentage of their day is billable, that's billable, is relatively low. So what you need to do, the first step, is to increase your billable space, your time. And then if you can increase your rates as well, then that's even better. So how do you do that? You've got to improve your efficiency, and that's looking at systems and the way you do business. Maybe you can simplify or remove some non-value added stuff, so that frees you up to do more billable stuff. So, and there's things around the edges that you can do to add more value. You can stack up value products and things like that around your core product, which is you. So that's number one. The second one is leveraged, and that's where you've got a business that is, bigger than you, can be bigger than you. So it can go beyond your time investment, and that's things that you can scale. So if you're manufacturing and selling stuff, then you can sell thousands, hundreds of thousands, whatever. Or if you got an online service that sells virtual products, or whatever, or you're perhaps a retailer or an online retailer that that just moves product, a wholesaler, whatever. There's all those things. So that's something that's bigger than you. So you can get leverage from that. So what do you have to do to really increase your business if you've got a leverage type business and growth is basically uncapped? Is you've got to identify the blockages that are stopping you from achieving those things. And sometimes that's easy, what the next blockage in front of you is. Sometimes it's not so easy. Quite often it's your mindset. There can be all sorts of different constraints and blockages. So that's basically it. One is unleveraged, second is leveraged. So just think about where you sit, what you can do if you're unleveraged to get more leverage from yourself, and if you're leveraged, what are the things that are holding you back? Do you think? Let's have a chat. So what is a business? Well, a business is made up of basically three components: people, process, and product. Okay. I don't know, some of you out there, we used to talk about people, process, technology, within the big organizational sort of consulting and change things. But, businesses are generally people, product, and process. And it's the interconnection of these, how the people work, your process efficiency, your innovation around products, etc. That is where the value comes from. So always think about that. It's pretty simple, three things. And so with people, your most important, asset or aspect of your business, it's amazing that it always comes back to, issues quite often come back to roles and responsibility. Who's responsible for what, who does what, and who doesn't do what, who shouldn't do what. And getting that clarity is super important to avoid a lot of issues. So get your roles and responsibilities, and let's dig into that a little bit. So typical roles or hats of the small business owner, which is you're an owner, an investor. So you want to, as an owner or investor, that's a primary role. You've chucked time and sweated a lot of blood and money into it. So you're looking to get a return, but and that's the lens that you've got to look at. You've always got to look back and say, hey, this is a business, right? I need a return on it. As a director of the organization, your business, you need to steer it, make the right strategic decisions so that you as the owner are going to come out better off. So director is all around, the orchestra conductor. You're directing the traffic too. You're like one of those policemen at the intersection. You have to direct to make sure that there's no smash ups. You're not going to sink the ship. So that's super important. Then the director is setting the direction and the strategy in conjunction with the manager, and the manager is making the operational decisions to make sure that we're going to head in the right direction and the staff are doing the right things. So you're the manager as well, and having been and as a small business owner, you're also the worker. Okay, so wow, you got four hats that you're juggling all the time. So, and that's why sometimes it can feel really chaotic. But if you can just work out at what times when you're wearing what hat, it can just help reduce some of the stress and the burden. So I just want to use a sort of an analogy of, say, of a nightclub. We've got the owner, investor, the director, the manager, the worker. And the worker's on the ground. He's behind the bar, or he's delivering drinks. So he sees the hustle and bustle. He's taking the orders. He's cleaning up the event stop. He's getting the bottles ready. The workers are clearing the glasses and making sure everything's sort of going and interacting with the customers. But it's all hustle. He's at ground floor, so he can't really see, what's happening around the place. And then you've got the manager, and the manager can say, hey, look, those people need attention over there. Or, gee whiz, something's happened over here, redirect some staff over there. Oh, we need more supplies, so order more supplies in. And it's all around managing what's going on. So he's looking down a bit more. He's not down in the trenches as such, and so he's got to coordinate the staff, making sure they're getting what they need to serve their customers, really, really well. And then it's the director, and the director is sort of sitting, up the top. He might even be, think of him in the helicopter or whatever. He's looking down on his nightclub and he's saying, wow, that area of town is really starting to boom. What should we do? Should we perhaps put another, nightclub over there? It's got really nice developments going on there. There's more bars opening up there. Maybe there's an opportunity to do that, or there could be supply chain. Looking at, wow, we need to change the way that we're buying and our supplies, our drinks and things like that, because there's an issue with the transport infrastructure around that. Or should we expand our nightclub because there's new trends emerging around what people are doing? So he's up there, he's looking at that, he's surveying the landscape of of where it is, and then you're looking at the owner, the investor, and what they're doing. What he's concerned about is, are we getting a financial return? And if we're not, what are we doing about it? Because businesses need to go through a cycle of investing, and they might have to pump some money back in to refurbish the nightclub or whatever, and so he's got to be involved in those sorts of decisions. So that's, if you can, hope that analogy helped. I always like nightclub examples. Always in for a good cocktail or a beer. So let's make sure that the workers, managers, directors are all aligned to serve that. Then on another dimension, talk about roles, your hats and responsibilities. You're responsible. You've got people responsible for marketing, for finance and accounting. You've got the human resources or people, your health and safety, sales, operations, admin, technology. There needs to be clarity about who's doing what. Sure, you get together, like, you might brainstorm some marketing ideas, or how we can improve sales or reduce costs or implement technology. You're working together, sure. However, someone has to be responsible, and as you're growing, you need clarity around that, because people need to know who to talk to. Who do I talk to about making a decision on changing the website, or if we can get a different sort of technology device, or should we be serving this customer before this customer? There needs to be clarity, because if there's confusion and one person who's not technically responsible for that, and that happens, we see it so often, especially in businesses where couples in businesses or families or whatever, where it's not really clear and everyone's sort of wanting to get along, that people don't know who to talk to, and that is not a great place to be, because it creates confusion, then it creates resentment, and people start talking, and the culture starts to sort of really get cloudy and messy. You don't want that. So clarity on roles and responsibilities is a biggie, and as you can see, there's multiple dimensions to that. So a lot of our work is working with people to ensure that those things are sorted out, because they're relatively easy to sort out. You know, there's challenges, but relatively easy. And then your most important role now in your life and your business is leadership. You're a leader. Just think of it, I'm a leader, right? So leadership for a couple in business is about blending your personal and professional lives in a way that drives your business success. And we'll look at that more a bit later around our framework that we have, because there's you as a couple, and then there's you as your business. And you want to maintain and nurture your relationship. You don't want to lose it. Look, it's not worth it. So we know it's tough. Yeah, and it's bloody tough in business and bloody tough in relationships. You put those two together, but you have to take a leadership role. You're steering this ship, right? And it's up to you to make things work. So you're visionaries, you collaborate together, and you're the role models creating the culture in your business. So you ensure that your leadership style supports both your business goals and your life together. Yeah? Come on, let's do that. So what does this mean for you as a leader? Well, success means different things to different people, and what I sort of like to take it back to is, you're building a cathedral, and there's a term around cathedral thinking, and I'm not sure if it really applies in this context, but whatever that success is, let's say it's building a cathedral. So that's the vision, direction that you're taking. So the second thing then is you've got to make sure, and we talked about roles and responsibility, who's accountable for what to get there. So who's laying those bricks at what time? So, your vision sets your direction. You're going to build that cathedral. Who's accountable for what in terms of building those walls? And then you're setting the culture. What sort of culture do you want in your organization? Ideally, don't want to put words into your mouth, but ideally you want an open and honest culture where people can be vulnerable themselves, they can express themselves, they can share ideas without fear of being punished or shamed or humiliated or ignored. That's the culture you want, because it's the people that come up with the innovative ideas if you let them, if you allow them to. So creating that open and honest culture, and that's safe for them to work in. So that's what we say about, you as a leader. These are the things that are critical for you to understand and deliver. Remember we discussed why you exist, to deliver value, right? Let's get into that. So we talked about your product, and your product is a core, So you might be selling accommodation. So your core thing is, say, a bed for the night. Or it might be, say, your core is it's a cell phone. I remember the days when phones were just talking, but it could be a cell phone. So the core there is, it's more around messaging and apps than talking, but also talking, I guess. Then you've got the actual product, and that's the physical essence of it, of the product or the service. So in your cell phone, you've got all sorts of, you've got the, what it looks like, feels like, those sorts of things, the battery performance and that, and how the apps look on the thing. And if it's a service, your accommodation is what the room looks like, what the whole premises look like, what's in the room, all of those sorts of things. And then you've got your augmented product. So there's 3 levels of things. And this is, augmented is around the service. How do you greet people at your accommodation? What sort of services do they get? Concierge service, that sort of thing. And then with the cell phone, do they get, what's the data plan? What's the storage? All that sort of stuff. What do they get around it? So while there's a core product, there's different layers to it, and they have different values to different people. So we talked about delivering value. And who do we deliver value to? Well, not everyone. Because basically the world, I don't know how many people there are, say 7 billion. That's a lot of people, right? That's a lot. And I don't know any business in the world that's selling to every single person. Let me know if there is. But as far as I know, that's not the case. So out there, we've got people that we suspect might be our customers. We don't know. But there's suspects, so that's a subset. That's a smaller set of that 7 billion. I don't know how many that would be. So it might be, you might be operating in a global scale. You might be operating in a town, or a country or whatever. I don't know what your business, is aiming to do. So from the suspects, we've got prospects, and these are people that might be responding to stuff that we're doing. We think they're interested, and all of those sorts of things. We might have them in a database list, emails and all that sort of stuff. So then there's your prospects, and it's smaller again. And then you've got your customers, and these are the people that have bought from you. Okay, these are the people, in your system, buying, spending money with you, and they're not all equal either. Some are more difficult than others, some spend more than others, and they're all got a different persona or a profile, or so that they're not the same. So that is your where your customers come from. So if you good, and this is a really good exercise to look at. I've just got a simple matrix here, a 2x2. But if you look at customers, say A, B, you can go C or D. Don't know how many, personas you have, or avatars, or however you want to define them. You've got them across one dimension, and then you've got your product. And your product, you might have a basic version, you might have a mid version, and you might have a premium gold version or platinum or whatever it is. So work out what customer types, value what sorts of things. And this can help you drive your marketing strategy, your pricing strategy. It really can provide really good clarity on where to hone your efforts as well. Because if the say category A, there's lots of them and they're relatively wealthy, wow, maybe there's an opportunity in there. You can move people from basic to premium perhaps, just by tweaking your offer or how you package your offer. It really does create opportunities to look at your business, and your customer base, because it's all around delivering value to your customers. So think about that. That's a really, really, simple, valuable tool. So getting your customers. So we talked about the suspects before. We say they're cold. That's a bit harsh, really, because they might be warm, nice people. But let's call, the suspects are cold. And what we're doing is getting them into sort of a funnel. So we're targeting them with whatever means we have. Social media, email, advertising, all that sort of stuff. And we'll get them in the funnel. Some will fall out. So this is all called the attraction stage. So there's different phases in the customer life cycle. So what we're doing is attracting people to become customers. We also have, and this is where we normally start, is the prospects. You know, it's easier to sell to existing customers than it is to get new ones, and it's easier to sell to prospects than it is to new ones. So if we can identify the prospects and work out what will trigger them to buy, then that's a great thing. So we get them in and we work out what is the process that we need to convert them into customers. Does that make sense? And along the way, we're going to lose people. So, but understanding the process and where people come in and fall out with whatever means you're doing, then that's super, super important. And you've got to systemize that. Talk about systemization. So once you get them in, so you've attracted them, you've converted them, you want to engage with them, you know, as soon as possible, and you know, delight them and retain them. So obviously that's the goal, and then you get success. The more attention you get, the better. So now buckle up for some numbers. This is cool. I love numbers. There's only 3 ways to grow your business, pretty sure. 1 is to get more customers. That's obvious. 2 is to get more dollars per customer sale. I quite often use gross margin, or you know, gross revenue, as opposed to dollar sales, and I'll explain that a bit more. And you get more sales per customer. So say if a customer buys 4 times a year, if you can get them to buy 5, 6, 10 times, then you know, that's more. So obviously every business is different. You're not going to sell a house to that same customer every month, you know, those sorts of things. So context is everything. So just remember that. Work out what's right for your business, what you think you can do. So let's have a look. Doing the math, say you've got your current situation, you've got 10 customers, you've got your average gross profit per sale is $10. You've got the average sales per customer is 10. So 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. And your cost to operate, this is your operating expenses and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, salaries and rent and marketing, all that sort of stuff, is $500. So you got a $500 profit. Cool. If you increased each one of them by 10%, you've got to work out, you know, this is where your marketing and sales come into it. So you get 11 customers. Yes, making a bit more money per customer, say $11. That comes to $1,331 profit. That's gross profit. And your cost to operate is still the same, right? So your profit now is $831. So that's $331 more, 66% more profit just by doing that. Now, sure, as you grow, at some point your cost to operate is going to increase. Yeah, look, we know all that, but just given this, the basic maths, this is in terms of growing your business. That's a a foundational thing. So if you increased it by 20%, well, you've got 12, that's $1,728. That's $500. That's $1,228 more profit. That's straight to your bottom line. That's where that goes into your investment account, your savings. You're spending on that holiday maybe. It's just incredible. So that's 146% more profit. Okay, that's growing your business. The challenge is that we've got to work out how to get more customers, how to get them to pay a little bit more, so how to get them to buy more often. And it might only be one of those 3 that you do. Just run that model and just see what it is. Say if you increase the customers by 20%, but your gross profit stayed the same. or your sales per customer only moved a little bit. If you do those scenarios, it's amazing what you'll see, and then ideas will come out. So yeah, I love doing that work with people, and the responses that we get and the ideas that come through. Oh, if we do that. Oh, what about if we do that? It's really cool. So avoid discounting. All right, do the math. Right. Now look, first I've got to say is sometimes you need to discount. You want to clear stuff, that might be dating stock, or, for whatever reason, you've got to clear it, and it's better to turn it into cash than to, write it off and throw it out. Don't get me wrong, okay? There's never one right answer. It always depends. But try and avoid discounting, and where possible, add more value, okay? And do your value stacking, okay? So say here we've got you're selling something at $10 per unit, and you're making a 67% markup. So the quantity of units that you sell is 10, so your sales revenue is 100. So your cost of sales, because it's 67% markup, is $60. You have a gross profit of $40. Say your cost to operate is 30. You make a profit of 10. Now, if you do a 10% discount, the idea of discounting is to make more sales, right? But if you don't, and this happens, I've seen it before, you don't make any more sales, and you've given money away, and you're only making a 50% markup. Well, you sell 10, you're only making $90 revenue. You've still got, your $60 cost of sales, and your gross profit now is only $30. So your profit is zero. So you've gone down massively. So you get 10% discount, but you get 10% more sales. So, right, $9, you're making, extra 10% sales, you're making $99. Cost of sales is $66. Total gross profit, $33. So you're making $3 profit. So you're down. So if you can see, it has a massive impact on your profitability when you start discounting. So try and avoid it, and look to add more value, the old value stacking technique. So again, working through this exercise with people, it's all part of the previous exercise around getting ideas to generate more revenue is fantastic. So where is the value created in your business? So how you deliver value or not is through process. So everyone is performing activities in the business. What you do either adds value or it detracts from value. So what you need to do is work out what your value-added activities are and emphasize those. Identify what your non-value-added ones are. And there's some that are necessary, but you want to minimize them and make them, be as efficient as possible there. There's compliance, there's health and safety stuff, there's quality control, those sorts of things. There's taxes, all that sort of compliance stuff. So, these are considered necessary waste items in your organization. So they consume, Then there's pure waste, and this is, waiting for stuff, rework, too much inventory, all of those sorts of things, unnecessarily moving of stuff. If you know, lean and Kaizen and those sorts of techniques to identify where value is created and lost, and then that's a great start. But really look to understand your processes and identify where value is added or lost in your business, and your staff will know. So, and maybe get some external help to look at that, because it's super, super valuable. So everyone is performing processes, and there's an input and there's an output to a customer. So core processes in most businesses is attracting and retaining staff. We call that the hire to retire, and everything in between, compensation, benefits, training, all that sort of performance management. Then there's attracting and retaining customers, super important. Product development, the sales process, quote to cash, the purchasing process, procure to payment. There's service delivery, and on and on and on. So just identify what your core processes are, and sometimes they vary. You need to focus on them differently depending on where you are in your life cycle and what's going on in your business. But don't ignore them. Understand what they are, because they could be the constraints to stop you from scaling. Then you have systems, because a process is one thing. Then you have systems to support them, and all sorts of systems, like you have your website, e-commerce system, your point of sale, your customer relationship management system. Really encourage every organization to get a CRM, because that's how you systemize the interactions and the management of your customers. But CRM, first up, is a philosophy. I work for a global consulting company, and our job was to get in ahead of the CRM vendors to work with clients to say, hey, look, you've got to get your head around the CRM thing, because customer relationship management is first a philosophy around it, and you enable it with technology once you understand really what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve it. So don't just chuck any old system in. Super important. Anyway, that's a topic for another day. Financial management systems, or you've got ERP systems, social media management, community and engagement, HR and payroll, and on and on. There's lots of systems. At EchoU, our business system architecture is a bit like this. It's around the prospects and customers. We've got the website, the point of sale, and in the CRM, and that's interfaced with the financial management. We've got community and training management, content creation and management, social media, and so we've got AI supporting us. The Gen AI stuff out there is super, super, super cool, and and the stuff that we're doing with that is amazing. So yeah, really exploit that. It will really, truly lift your productivity once you get your head around it and embrace it. So got to do that. If you've got challenges around that, message me, and we'll see what we can sort out, because yeah, it's amazing where you can go. You can go from here to there. Oh, it blows my mind. It's so good. And part of that is we've got integration and automation tools. And these, again, I talked about systemizing your business so it can scale. It becomes independent of you, frees you up. The opportunities in that space combined with AI, wow, mind-blowing, right? And down here behind my little bubble, I think that's content storage. So we've got different things, SharePoint, Dropbox, all of those tools and things. So that's basically our core architecture. It looks complex, but it's it's not too bad. How do you get to where you want? Well, let's fly through this one. So you're a super couple in business, and you're at A, and you want to get to point B. And this sharing vision is something I focus on in another training, but that's your success point, is sharing the vision of where you want to be, and you need to be, you as a super couple, aligned on the vision. Because if you're not, then you're starting to run into troubles, because we're both individuals, right? So how do we align to make sure that we're heading in the right direction together? So something to really consider, and that's one of the things that we work with, and I'll explain it really quickly a bit later on. So you know what you want to achieve, you know why you want to achieve it, and then you've got to be aligned. So achieving that is alignment of how you do it, because if you don't, then you're heading in different directions, and that can be really painful and challenging, and we don't want that. And again, part of the things that we do is we look at where you want to get to, what you want to achieve, and then how you get there. That's your that's the path, that's the journey you're on. Let's see if we can get alignment around that. You know, there's always dynamics that come into play that can hinder the alignment, and those need to be addressed, otherwise resentment builds up. You know, all sorts of things happen, and it's horrible. Everyone's been in that space, and yeah, let's try and move through and conquer that and achieve our quest. Come on. So you know, some of the dynamics at play are, you know, not clear, or you disagree on the path, feel like the balance between work and life is not right, you know, never off, no boundaries, time or place. And I know what it's like being in business, because it's your passion, right? And sometimes that overtakes, and that's cool, because I love it. Even, you know, when we're on holiday, we have discussions around, oh, maybe, you know, how about we do, you know, all of that sort of stuff, because stuff just comes out, right? And it's so cool when you're in that space. But if one's in that space and the other's not, and it can feel really, you know, horrible. So if you're not clear on your roles and responsibility, who does what, I've mentioned all this many times, you need to know who's in charge of what. So there's so many dynamics at play, and we need to sort of corral them, and let's address them. And if you like the numbers, and this is around alignment. So, you know, alignment of vision. So there is a very strong link between having and communicating. We'll put that in there, because if you have it and you don't communicate it, a clear vision and business success. So having the vision is strongly linked to business success. Okay, McKinsey & Co. I don't know if they need an introduction, but they're probably the leading management strategy consultants. Those companies that had, you know, that communicated a strong vision, 20 to 30% more EBITDA, that's earnings before interest, depreciation, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, than those businesses that don't. So 20 to 30% just by communicating that. Okay, imagine that, because the staff, everyone galvanizes. We know what we're heading for, so you know, you don't have to do much more than that, and they galvanize around it and work towards it. Gallup, 21% more profitability, 17% more productivity. You know, Korn Ferry, 29% more revenue, 36% more profit. You know, I mentioned things before, you know, and if you get your staff around you too, that, you know, and they believe in what you're doing, and you've got that culture, that open, honest culture, people will work towards that. You know, Harvard Business Review, 15 times better than the general market, 6 times better than comparison companies in that industry. You know, so it's just so clear, so compelling. You've got to have that clear vision and be aligned with it, because your success is going to just be massive. But the harsh reality for most is they don't achieve that success. We saw that at the start, the failure rates, the organizations that struggle. So instead of being up there succeeding, having the success you want, it can be a miserable time. So you need to do something about it, address that. You need to ask yourself, okay, you want that success, you want that time freedom, you want the dollars, you want the growth, you want the stature, whatever it is. Ask yourself, what have I tried and hasn't worked? Ask yourself, what do I have to do to change this? And more importantly, what am I prepared to do? What sacrifices will I make? What will I commit to? Just because you know what to do, will you do it? Do you think you know what you need to do? Is it the illusion of knowledge? Think about it. You've got a big investment in this. You've got to make it work. What do you got? Family, friends, you've got your commitments. Be honest. Let's get this going. As I mentioned before, our goal is to reduce the time it takes you to get to that success. Reduce the effort, the pain, the misery, the learnings, the experiences, and the dollars you're investing and the time away from other things that you could be doing. So increasing the fun and the harmony. Wow. So some hard truths, perhaps. Talked about accountability before. Guess where the buck stops? Yeah, look in the mirror. We talk about, a culture where above the line and below the line, and a lack of accountability. You start by blaming others. You're making excuses. You deny the truth. You've got to take ownership, accountability, responsibility. That's above the line. Buck stops with you. So accountability is getting things done. That's you. So let me ask you a question. Pretty simple one. Are you where you want to be? Okay. If you're not where you want to be, then I ask you another question. In the past 5 days, how much time have you focused on doing the right things to get you where you want to be? Look at it. Calendar, 5 days. Go back during the last 5 days, last 2 weeks. How much of this time was filled up? Say 40 hours a week. Have you spent 1 hour, 2 hours, totally focused, 100% on what you want? Have you got that image of success, that visual of success in front of you? So what about superhero support? Right, we're coming down to the crux of it now. For me, we are superhero supporters, and this is, my little sales pitch really. What we have is a framework, because each couple in business, each family in business, say, and that's who we're looking at here, is made up of is different entities, for want of a better term. There's you as an individual. You have your own needs and wants and desires, skills and abilities and all that sort of stuff. And then 2, there's you as a couple. You've got your dreams and desires and dynamics at play. And then there's your business. And there are 3 interconnected things, and it's the intersectionality of those 3 things that gives you the abundance in business. And our framework looks at that. Look, we might start at different points and come in, but essentially they cover a multiple of areas. So, and it's looking at those things in each area and we do an assessment to see where you're at and where we can move. In some of the previous slides, we looked at sharing vision, getting alignment around that vision and alignment on the path, the journey and the path and the destination. So important, for you as a couple. And then, so it's those sorts of things. That's the essence of the framework that we work with you to just achieve just the magic that you bring to your business. We can start here on the us, on the me, but down here behind my bubble, there's a bigger red arrow, and we've focused most of our time, on this is around business today. So we've focused all around looking at the business elements of the entities. But we could start, as I said, anywhere, and we normally work with you and do an assessment and see, where working with you to understand where we should be starting. And some things to think about is, knowing the basics, and we've covered, some of the basics of business here. You get aligned on target, and so you're much less stressed, and you're more happy. You can triple your profitability. And we saw that before. How you can do that, and just working together, and aligning around things. And there's the things from McKinsey and Bain & Co. and Harvard that show, look, just doing some of the basics right, massive improvement in profitability. Alignment. You're not thinking and wanting the same things. You need that a little bit of dissension between you, or differing views, because that creates the dynamism and the tension that sparks innovation and growth, right? It's about understanding and accommodating, those sorts of things. So so that's really, really valuable if you can just understand that point. Community. Now, community has been the wonder, the surprise for me, is just the massive value that communities bring, and the richness they bring to people's lives. Because no one knows everything, but together as a community, and having a supportive community of like-minded people, superheroes going out and achieving great things is fantastic. So so that's some things to think about. Wow, this is a messy, busy slide, but we've got all sorts of tools and techniques that we work with depending on what you want to achieve and where you're at, obviously, and these are all part of the community resources. So, but the community support is a massive thing. And just quickly on one of the tools, and this is huge, right? We have a 7-step process to significantly improve how you operate and increase your freedom. And it's all around the delegation tree. I don't know if you've heard of it before. But the delegation tree supports decisions, delegations, and succession. It's a really simple tool, but it does take some time and thinking to implement. And it's the old metaphor and analogy of the tree. And what you do is you have in your business, you have leaf level decisions. And those are simple little things, that you allow people to do. And they don't have to, they can make a decision, they can act on it. They don't have to report the decision, and then you have branch level, and these are a bit bigger. Then you have trunk level, and these are, more significant. And then you have root level, and those are, foundational things that need a lot of consideration. They probably need the directors and the owner to, to be across those decisions. But if you can define what those are within your business and implement that, wow, that frees you up so much. You're not caught in the, in all the little stuff all the time. And it just frees you to think of the bigger stuff, the growth stuff, or I'm free to take some time off stuff, because the leaf, the branch, and decisions are the things that are routine, business as usual type things, and the trunk and the root ones aren't every day. But that is a super tool that we support people to implement and just make their lives heaps easier. So that's one of the tools that we recommend that that people work through. It helps clarify roles and responsibilities. And that enables you, because it's scary delegating, right? You sort of feel as though you're giving away responsibility, but it enables you to do just that, and know you can define what sorts of decisions are leaf, branch, trunk, and and then you're free to move on, and everyone knows where they're at. And then you can build the succession plans too. Well, for the next 6 months, you're going to be making leaf decisions. And then we're going to build you up to branch level decisions in this area. So you start building succession plans to move yourself out to a higher level. Cool. All right. So success, you're a super couple, and we applaud you, and thank you for making the contribution to the economies that you are working in, because it's super, super cool. So whatever that success means to you, just go all out for it. The challenge that we have is there's so much noise. What is noise and should be ignored, and what are signals that I need to pick up on? And it can be very, very confusing. So that is one of the strengths of community, because they help filter out that noise, because people have been there, we've seen it all. So it'll help with your clarity of mind, health of mind, your well-being, because it can be bloody overwhelming, I know. So choices, where now? Where now? Here you are. I love this from Nelson Mandela. May your choices reflect your hopes and not your fears. How often do we make a choice that makes us small, keeps us small, because we're fearful of stepping out into our greatness? It's scary. Scary. But hope your choice reflects your hopes, not your fears. So what we want to do is see you on the inside. We want you to join our couple and business community, where we've got great support, we've got tools, great networking opportunities, we've got professionals that cover multiple spectrums. Listen, thank you so much for spending the time with me. Loved it, and hopefully you got some value out of this. And let's continue being great. Okay, thanks, super couples.